Why are we seeing such a spike the day after Thanksgiving?
You know, I think it's a litmus test, right? When you thrust people together and they take a long look at themselves, their relationships, it's really pronounced on family time. So the day after Thanksgiving, the day after Valentine's Day, the day after New Year's, those are all times that we see huge spikes in our service. So it becomes a matrimonial Black Friday for us, you know, once the NFL game shut off on Thursday night.
Wow. Are you seeing, what's the breakdown like in terms of men and women that are visiting your site in general and also during the holiday season?
It's clearly female infidelity that's on the rise, right? We've seen about a 30% growth just in our North American business while we've expanded Ashley Madison, not just into the four corners of the globe. We've looked at cultural corners, right? We're now in the arranged marriage realm in India. We're in the places where divorce is illegal in the Philippines, even in the Muslim world in Turkey. And so infidelity is on the rise on the female side of the equation, but they still don't equal men. It's still about, 40% female, 60% male in most regions.
Now, you're the co-founder of the company. How'd you come up with the idea for a site that encourages married people to cheat on each other?
You know, it's a great question. I think like any other light bulb idea, you have to have a foundation. I was a sports attorney, so really involved in professional infidelity in some degree, right? And so when I came across some data suggesting that 30% or more of people on traditional dating sites, singles dating sites, weren't truly single, it seemed like a good idea to build a community of their own for the unfaithful.
Do you ever feel bad? I mean, do you ever say, when you get up and you look in the mirror in the morning, you say, I'm contributing to people's marriages breaking up in some way?
Well, no, I'm an entrepreneur at the end of the day, right? And so infidelity happened long before we created Ashley Madison. It would happen if we were even absent in the marketplace. What I think is way more interesting is as we've moved to include attached people and single people have joined the community, and as IAC, which operates Match.com, has built Tinder and moved closer to us with the casual dating community, their property is being valued at 12 to 20 times earnings, right? And so how valuable does that make Ashley Madison? If we're close together now in that realm, I think this is a really fascinating business to look at, and we can't really get into the whole, is this moral or immoral? The most important people in our society, presidents, entertainers, athletes, they all seem to struggle with monogamy. I think it's the same thing for your neighbors and friends.
So what kind of money are you making at this? I mean, what's the revenue like for the site?
We're on a quick race to about $200 million in annual sales, and I think once we hit that, with our profit margins, that makes us an extremely valuable property. Whether our stock ticker ever trades, and you can be talking about it on your show, or we keep it as a private company, it's a great internet success story.
So you're thinking about an IPO at some point? Do you don't think there's any stigma attached to it? Would it be more challenging, say, to debut in the U.S. versus somewhere else?
I think it's really true that the kind of street-level investor would love to have a piece of Ashley Madison, knowing how prominent infidelity is in the community. I think it's the institutions that have some trouble getting their head around to it. But again, if, the precipitation of Tinder success moves Match.com out of IAC and it trades at a huge multiple, I think we're going to get a lot of interesting phone calls on the tailwind of that.
Let me ask you about privacy, because that's been such an issue online as of late. Now, I imagine if you're a married person and you're cheating on your spouse on your site, AshleyMadison.com, you don't want that information getting leaked out. How do you protect your users in this day and age where it seems as though we're getting a hack attack that we're talking about 3 times a week?
Absolutely. To us, the perfect affair is meeting someone and not being discovered. And so we have built a product that gears towards the not being discovered, unlike if you used, say, Facebook to have an affair. That's going to be catastrophically bad. And so the anonymous way you sign up, the discreet nature of their communication platform, the billing being secretive, and ultimately things like our Ghost Delete, which allows you to recall every message or photo you've ever shared, and we even blow it off our own servers, which, by the way, sit in a remote location, kind of untouchable. So I think we do everything we can to protect privacy way over and above what a service that is just catering to, say, singles dating would ever do.
So are you gearing up for the holiday season, just like some of the retailers out there are, Noel?
Conventional wisdom would have you believe that, I can advertise and affect change, meaning I can convince people to have affairs. I simply can't. Life does that. Relationships do that for us. And so there's nothing to gear up to. It just happens. It happens, that Friday is going to be a terrific Friday for Ashley Madison. In the same way, truthfully, 2008 proved that we weren't just a recession-proof business, but a recession growth one. In tough economic times, people turn to things like infidelity more often than not.